Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my February 2021 reading stats. So, I usually do a reading stats video every month showing what I read and kind of the numbers. It was a weird month. Like, I did read a lot, but I also didn't read that many big things, so the numbers are all kind of average for stuff, but I enjoyed most of my reading. It was all pretty, nothing super spectacular except for my my favorite book of the month. Everything else was pretty, it was good. So, these things happen. So I'm going to go through my trusty little list and go down them. So, how many books did I finish? I finished 14 things. I finished 8 that were physical, 2 that were ebooks, and 2 audiobooks, plus 2 rereads. So again, those add up to 14. I count the rereads differently. My graphic novel, I didn't read any graphic novels or mangas this month. I don't know, usually I get one, but I didn't get anything this month. I had 4 DNFs. So that was one of my higher months. I usually don't DNF quite that much. I would say I do a lot of not reading stuff that I've tried like a couple of chapters or a couple of pages and just decide not to do it. But 4 books that I got pretty good into before I DNF'd them, and it's kind of sad. Anyway. But I don't want to read any of those books, so they are now gone, or going to be gone. So how many of the ones that were read that were on my how many on my TBR, the core 4 that I wrote down, did I read any of those or didn't I? And I read one of those books. One of them is a continuing into March, because it was a book I was reading over a 2-month period. And then 2 of them I DNF'd. So this was actually one of the worst TBRs I've had in a while. I usually do better than that, but no, this time was pretty bad. How many of the books that I finished this month were from my physical shelves, and then how many were from the library? I had 5 that came off my physical bookshelf, and then 3 of them came from the library. So not as good a percentage as I'd like, but how many was I still reading as I crossed into the next month? As I said, the book that was over a 2-month period was Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope, and A Memory Called Empire by Arcady Martin is an ebook that I started at the end of February and continued into March. So those 2 I carried over. How many books did I buy this month? I bought 22. So as I said in my book haul, some of those I actually bought in January but didn't receive them until February, so I was able to make my January numbers look really good. But what it does is mess me up for the February number. So yes, I bought 22 books. Cost per book was on average $9.05, so not a great average. I bought a lot of expensive books, I think, for me. I've only read one of those books. And it was actually an ebook I read from the library, or an audiobook that I read from the library, and then I bought a physical copy afterwards. So that's the only one I'd read. All of the other 21 books went on my TBR. Oops. I read 4,229 pages in February. So for a short month, that's really good, because my average came out to 151 pages per day. Super good for me. I said anything over 100 I'm ecstatic about, because 50 is my threshold. Like, I want to be for sure over 50 pages a day on average for the month. So anything over 100 is good. 151 is awesome. So I did really well that way. My average page count per book is only 295. I think it's a little higher than it was last month. So I still have a tendency to read a lot of shorter books in the mix of average size books. I haven't, as I said, even though I was hoping to focus on big books this year, I haven't really read any yet, but that'll change after March. But point is, I didn't, 295, that's a little short on some of the books, but I read several novellas, so I think that was part of my problem. From my male to female ratio, I read 4 male authors and 10 female. So male was 28.5% and female was 71.5%. I think that's about normal. Translated works, I read 2 translated works, so about 14% of my reading was translated. and they were by the same author. Anyway, and then POC authors, I had 5 that were, so 35% of my reading was POC. So that was pretty good. Again, always hoping for more, but that was actually really good for me in 1 month. My star ratings. So I had only 1 5-star read. I had 7 4-star reads, and I had 5 3-star reads. So, that's pretty average for me especially when I have DNF so many books. I don't have any really low ratings unless I finish the book. So it's usually 3 or so 4s. And as I said, I only had 1 5-star. So this year, so far, I've been really stingy on the 5s, but it's true. So my average for the month, I've decided to add this one, this is a new stat for me, is the average rating for the month is 3.69 stars. So that sounds, it's higher than 3.5, so I guess that's pretty good. The genres I read 3 paranormal romances for 21% of my reading. I read 2 mysteries, which are 14% of my reading. And then I had 9 other genres that were so they'd all be 7%. So, because there's only 1 title of each one. I had a historical romance, an urban fantasy, a social studies, memoir, historical fantasy, historical fiction, nature nonfiction, general nonfiction, and a contemporary. So, like I said, I hit a lot of genres this month, which was really cool, but only 1 here and there. But anyway, so those are all the numbers. My favorite book of the month was my 5-star read, The Hidden Face of Eve by Noel El Sadawi. This was translated from the Arabic by Sharif Hitata. This was so fantastic, and I'm so glad I bought this a couple years ago. I don't even know who I saw it on anymore because it's been so long, but I made an effort to go and find this and got this copy, and I am so glad. I really got so much out of this, even though this was published in, I think it's 1978 or 9. It was in the late 70s. It is just so powerful on what women in the Arab world were dealing with at that time. And you can definitely see, since with other books that I've read that are more recent, some of the things are not any different. And it is so powerful, the things that she went through and people she knows or she had interaction with as a doctor. And it's just brutal, some of this. And it was so hard reading, but it was horrific, really, in a lot of ways. And then she also talks about how different religions and the patriarchy and those kind of things have really thrown all women in all different religions and all different areas, how that has affected their lives. But again, it's mostly from this perspective, and it was so powerful. I did also read one of her fiction novels, which was good. It just didn't, again, it was still powerful, but not in the way that this was. This nonfiction was just phenomenal for me, and I'm so glad I read it and experienced that. And it was so hard to read the beginning. I teared up at some of just the brutality that some of these women had to go through, and she herself, and it's just so this was definitely my favorite book of the month. So just so powerful. And my least favorite could have been the one that was like one of the 3-star books, which is one I didn't really like, and I really complained about it all the way through. But I decided to go with my really hard disappointment on a DNF of The Winter King by C.L. Wilson. This just was so disappointing on how the main female character went. As in, she was a certain age in a fantasy world, and she was just acting like a child, and I just couldn't handle it. And it was so upsetting because the world building was really good in this. The writing was good. It was just that character just drove me crazy, and I didn't even get that far. I got 60 pages in, I think. I just was like, I can't do this. She just kept doing stupid things, and I didn't care. So it was so disappointing because I really wanted to read this historical romance, or his historical fantasy. Hey, I need to... God, Cooper, just goes through that door if I'm in here too long. Anyway, I just did not get along with this. I'm really upset about it, and it's kind of disappointing. So, and then I do want to just really quick, I left my board out so we could look at this. So for February, I had, oh, can I do this? This is my prompt board that I use every month. My DNFs, I had 4. I started 2 series, I continued 2 series, and I finished a series, which was awesome. Classics, I only finished 2 that were, I would consider modern classics. I didn't finish anything that was older than that. I had 2 books from Translated Cities, which are, one of them was my favorite book, and her fiction book were the only 2 that I got done for translated works. Oh well. I had 3 nonfiction books. I had 1 historical book. Yay, we finally got it. I did read 2 ebooks as well, so I did hit these ones that I didn't get to last time. I didn't get any big books. So as I said, my page count was all in the 400s and lower, so I didn't get to check anything off there. I did not get to any 5-star predictions, but I did have 2 rereads. So really, this is a good board. I did for February, I think I checked off a lot of things. Not everything, but I did really well. But it shows that I need to focus on some big books. And then really quick, we'll show you my February reading chart. So I did mess up here because it's cats. Anyway, there was supposed to be 2, there was supposed to be one day where I got a little teeny bit and then 2 spaces because that's when I had my medical procedure. And then these 2 were supposed to be down farther, but I made a little mark. So it's just a little off here, but I know that it's fine. But really, overall, I read really steadily for most of the month. There were some really good days, but really, that's just fun. And then just to show, this is my really bad, my graph of showing how many books I bought. So I bought way too many books. Yes, Cooper. Anyway, yes, I bought way too many books. And then here's my pixel. So this is always hard to see. I'm sorry about that, but I just like doing this to show how many pages I got. And since you can see that most of them are in the blues and purples and greens, and those are my higher numbers of page counts. So it looks pretty cool so far. And I did get to add 2 more boxes of done for my Goodreads goal. So I'm over 20. And then I'm not sure how I like this. So I know a lot of people do the library thing. I was trying to show how many books, but I mean, it is showing good. If you show this, the physical, and then is green, the red is ebooks, and audiobooks are blue. You can see, and this is still messed up because I accidentally put an audiobook that I owned. I haven't listened to one yet. So I have a note here for that. But these are all the books, the rest of the books that I've read that are from my library, my personal, that I own. Cat. And then these are my library books. So I have still read a lot of library books, even though I was trying to keep it down. So I'm trying to keep it, try to show that so I can tell in the future. And then really quickly, my tracking my cat, my series tracker. I finished that fun series. So that one is done, and then I made progress in this one up here, and I started a few. So anyway, as my cat goes for it, but that's kind of it. Those are all my stats for this, and hopefully that's okay. And then there's Cooper. Anyway, how'd your reading go in February? Any stats that you thought were surprising, or is there anything you think I need to add to my list? Let me know. Me and Cooper, we'll see you guys later. Bye.